Well, today is, let's see, 272 in our journey through the Word, and we are just about through with the month of September. Just one more day, actually, and we will be entering October, which is very, very hard to believe. And unless you go in the store and you already see Christmas trees that are up that have been up on display for about 6, 7 weeks, which is a frustration all in itself. But on to today's reading. Uh, I love the passage today out of Luke chapter 4 where Jesus is in the synagogue and he takes the scroll. The scroll is handed to him, the scroll of Isaiah the prophet, and he unrolls the scroll and found the place where this was written. And Jesus read these words: "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim that captives will be released, that the blind will see, that the oppressed will be set free, and that the time of the Lord's favor has come. The time of the Lord's favor has come." Then he rolled up the scroll, handed it back to the attendant, and he sat down. I love the next part. It says, all eyes in the synagogue looked at him intently. Can you imagine the scene? Everybody just in awe, just waiting. Is he going to say anything else? He's read a very specific passage out of Isaiah. What is he going to say next? Or will he remain silent? But Jesus doesn't remain silent. He says, then he began to speak. Then Jesus began to speak to them. The scripture you've just heard has been fulfilled this very day. They sat in intense awe, wondering what he was going to say. And he responds to that silence by saying, today, that scripture has been fulfilled. And referring to himself. And then the doubt of the people rise, and the people say, how can this be? Isn't this Joseph's son? They totally missed it. Totally and completely missed it. And yet again we come into in Matthew 8:17 where the words of the prophets are being fulfilled. We've seen that in what Jesus just read, but it also said Isaiah, who said he took our sickness and removed our disease. More and more prophecies in the ministry of Jesus is being fulfilled. But the sad part in today's reading is when Jesus asked in John 4:48, will you never believe in me unless you see miraculous signs and wonders? When is enough enough? Just show me one miracle. Just show me one sign, is what we see over and over with the Sadducees and the Pharisees and you and me. Just one more. Just show me a sign. What if God's answer, what if Jesus' answer is, my grace is enough? You don't need a miracle. You don't need a sign. My grace is enough. Heal my sickness. And God's answer is, my grace is enough. Heal my marriage. Help me with this job. Help me through this most difficult situation. What if God's answer is, my grace is enough? We see today with the Father coming to Jesus. And he says, Lord, please come. And yes, his grace would have been enough, and his grace is enough. But Jesus said, go home. Your son will live. And here's what the Father did. He believed. It says, and the man believed. He didn't have to drag Jesus along. He didn't say, but. He believed that God himself, Jesus promised, your son will live. And before he even made it home, the word came to him that he did. And I'm reminded today that the one who healed still heals. The one who came still comes. The one who spoke still speaks. Could we, would we have the same faith as that man? This is the very beginning of Jesus' ministry. That in what we're reading, and this Father believed. Oh, that I would have such faith. Jesus told them, and we'll get to this passage in just the days ahead, but in John 20:29, Jesus told them, you believe because you have seen me, but blessed are those who believe without seeing me. And it goes back to his question in our passage today in John 4:48. Will you never believe in me unless you see miracles, signs, and wonders? And later Jesus says, blessed are those who believe without seeing me. Faith. Faith. And we're reminded, Jesus healed many. Words of hope out of Mark 1:34. And again, he still touches our lives. He still heals today. No matter what their diseases were, the touch of his hand healed everybody. And it still does. Words of hope. Words of hope today. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow as we continue our journey through the Word.